a ton of work to do, and a lot of times, when you have to walk 1,000 miles and you take the first step, it looks like a long ways.
If you truly want to become successful, there's going to be things in your life that are going to need to change. You're going to have to learn how to do things differently, or you're going to have to learn to let things go that you thought were good, but in actuality are harming your development and harming your growth in order to become successful. That can mean letting people out of your life that don't believe in you and keep putting you down constantly. It could be a lifelong friend who just doesn't believe in you.
Then building a product. We are in the process of architecting a company.
Putting those negative thoughts in your mind, which is further putting you back from wanting to achieve your goals and constantly be growing. You may have to spend a lot of time doing things you don't enjoy.
And I think that what we need to do, and some mistakes will be made, by the way. Some mistakes will be made along the way.
If you're not a big fan of reading on practically every single topic you could ever think of in the entire world, somebody's written about it, and there's something you can gain from each and every one of those books. Or you could be listening to podcasts in order to get more information. Listen to as many things and read as many things to get as much information that you possibly can on whatever it is you want to do.
I've never found anybody that didn't want to help me if I asked them for help.
Because the more information you have, the more likely you are to figure out how to use all those tools and tips and tricks they're discussing, and when you implement that, then you will become successful.
You have to be run by ideas, not hierarchy. The best ideas have to win.
I was lucky. I found what I love to do early in life. My second story is about love and loss. We worked hard, and in 10 years, Apple had grown from just the two of us in a garage into a $2 billion company with over 4,000 employees. We just released our finest creation, the Macintosh, a year earlier, and I just turned 30, and then I got fired. How can you get fired from a company you started? Well, as Apple grew, we hired someone who I thought was very talented to run the company with me, and for the first year or so, things went well. But then our visions of the future began to diverge, and eventually we had a falling out. When we did, our board of directors sided with him. And so at 30, I was out, and very publicly out. What had been the focus of my entire adult life was gone, and it was devastating. I really didn't know what to do for a few months. I felt that I had let the previous generation of entrepreneurs down, that I had dropped the baton as it was being passed to me. I met with David Packard and Bob Noyce and tried to apologize for screwing up so badly. I was a very public failure, and I even thought about running away from the valley. But something slowly began to dawn on me. I still love what I did. The turn of events at Apple had not changed that one bit. I'd been rejected, but I was still in love. And so I decided to start over.
You invariably get oh, that's just the way it's done. Nobody knows why they do what they do. Nobody thinks about things very deeply in business. That's what I found. I'll give you an example. When we were building our Apple I's in the garage, we knew exactly what they cost. When we got into a factory in the Apple II days, the accounting had this notion of a standard cost, where you'd kind of set a standard cost and then at the end of a quarter you'd adjust it with a variance. And I kept asking, well, why do we do this? And the answer was, well, that's just the way it's done. And after about 6 months of digging into this, what I realized was the reason you do it is because you don't really have good enough controls to know how much it costs. So you guess, and then you fix your guess at the end of the quarter. And the reason you don't know how much it costs is because your information systems aren't good enough. So, but nobody said it that way. And so later on, when we designed this automated factory for Macintosh, we were able to get rid of a lot of these antiquated concepts and know exactly what something cost to the second. So in business, a lot of things are, I call it folklore. They're done because they were done yesterday and the day before.
One of the keys to Apple is Apple's an incredibly collaborative company. And so, you know how many committees we have at Apple? Zero. We have no committees. We are organized like a startup. One person's in charge of iPhone OS software. One person's in charge of Mac hardware. One person's in charge of iPhone hardware engineering. We're organized like a startup. We're the biggest startup on the planet. And we all meet for 3 hours once a week, and we talk about everything we're doing, the whole business. And there's tremendous teamwork at the top of the company, which filters down to tremendous teamwork throughout the company. And teamwork is dependent on trusting the other folks to come through with their part without watching them all the time, but trusting that they're going to come through with their parts. And that's what we do really well. And we're great at figuring out how to divide things up into these great teams that we have and all work on the same thing, touch bases frequently, and bring it all together into a product. We do that really well. And so what I do all day is meet with teams of people and work on ideas and solve problems to make new products, to make new marketing programs, whatever it is.
You know, we try to hire really smart people, but we have a very simple organization, and we try to focus and do very few things well. And focusing's hard because focusing doesn't mean saying yes, it means saying no. So we decide not to do a lot of things so we can focus on a few handfuls of things and do them well. I think, you know, everybody working at a company wants to do something great. They want to be excited about what they're working on, and they want to be recognized for it if they do a really great job. So we just try to allow people to do the best work of their lives and get it out to 25 million customers that we have. And that's very exciting. And when you're working on something and you know if this works out, up to 25 million people are going to use this. It's very motivating. But other companies tend to follow us. You know, it takes them a few years, but other companies tend to copy what we do if it works.
Right.